Let us begin by understanding that wealth, in its truest essence, is not about the accumulation of material possessions or the numbers in your bank account. True wealth is a state of being, a consciousness of abundance that permeates every aspect of your life. As I have always taught, your imagination is the God in man. And it is through your imagination that you can assume the state of wealth and bring it into your physical reality. Now you might ask, Neville, how do we act as if we are wealthy? How do we cultivate this consciousness of abundance? The answer, my beloved friends, lies in the understanding and application of the law of assumption. For you see, to act as if you are wealthy is not about pretending or deceiving yourself, but about assuming the natural state of abundance that is your birthright. Imagine, if you will, the wealthiest version of yourself. See this version of you moving through life with ease and confidence, free from financial worries, generously sharing your abundance, and living a life of purpose and fulfillment. Feel the peace, the joy, the sense of security that this wealthy self possesses. This is not a fantasy, my dear ones, but a reality that exists in the realm of infinite possibilities. Your task is to bring this reality into your present experience through the power of assumption. As you assume the state of being wealthy, you must maintain unwavering faith in this new self-concept. Remember, faith is nothing more than loyalty to unseen realities. The wealthy version of you exists, even if your physical senses cannot yet perceive it. Your faith in this unseen reality is what will bridge the gap between your current state and your desired state of wealth. Now, let us delve deep into the practical application of acting as if you are wealthy through the law of assumption. The first step is to clearly define what wealth means to you. Perhaps financial freedom, the ability to travel the world, the power to make a difference in others' lives, or simply the peace of mind that comes with abundance. Whatever wealth means to you, define it with clarity and precision. Once you have identified your personal definition of wealth, create a vivid mental image of yourself embodying this state of wealth. See yourself confidently making financial decisions, generously giving to causes you care about, enjoying luxurious experiences, or simply living each day free from financial stress. Visualize yourself moving through the world with the ease and grace of someone who knows that abundance is their natural state. As you create these mental images, remember that you are not merely daydreaming or engaging in wishful thinking. You are, in fact, entering into the very state of consciousness that will manifest these realities in your physical experience. For consciousness is the only reality, and what you assume is true in your imagination must inevitably express itself in your outer world. Now, my dear friends, I must emphasize that this practice of assumption is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. Just as you would not expect a seed to grow into a mighty oak overnight, you must not expect instant results in your journey of embodying wealth. The key is persistence and patience. Each day, take time to enter into the state of consciousness of your wealthy self. Feel the naturalness of being this person. Experience the joy, the peace, the sense of abundance that comes with living a wealthy life. As you persist in this practice, you will find that your outer actions begin to align with this inner state. You may notice that you naturally begin to make choices that support your wealthy self-concept. You might find yourself drawn to opportunities for financial growth, feeling inspired to learn about investments, or experiencing a newfound confidence in your ability to create and manage wealth. These are not coincidences, my beloved, but the natural outward expressions of your inner assumption. Remember, the outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. As you assume the state of being wealthy, the universe must rearrange itself to match this assumption. This is the law, and the law always works. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about my current financial situation? What if I'm struggling with debt or limited income? To this I say, do not be discouraged by temporary circumstances. They are merely the shadows of past thinking, and they hold no power over your future unless you give them that power through your attention and belief. When you encounter financial challenges, return to your practice of assumption. Step once again into the consciousness of your wealthy self. Feel the abundance, the security, the unwavering knowing that all your needs are met and more. From this state of consciousness, you will find the inner resources to overcome any financial obstacle. Moreover, understand that true wealth is not about hoarding resources or living in excess. It is about cultivating a state of abundance that allows you to live shuddy and generously. Your wealthy self is not a means of counting coins, but a channel through which abundance flows, blessing both yourself and others. As you continue on this journey of acting as if you are wealthy, you may find that your definition of wealth itself evolves. What once seemed like unattainable luxury may transform into a natural expression of your abundant nature. This is the magic of living from the end being the state of consciousness of your ideal wealthy self. Now let us explore another crucial aspect of acting as if you are wealthy, the power of your self-talk. The words you speak to yourself, both silently and aloud, shape your self-concept and, consequently, your reality. To embody wealth, you must cultivate wealthy thinking and speaking. Begin to speak to yourself as if you were already the wealthiest version of yourself. Instead of saying, I can't afford that, affirm, I choose to allocate it and resources differently. Rather than lamenting, I never have enough money, declare, I am constantly attracting wealth and abundance into my life. These are not mere positive affirmations, my dear ones. They are declarations of your true state of being, which your outer world must inevitably reflect. As you reshape your self-talk, you are literally reprogramming your subconscious mind. And it is from the subconscious that all your financial behaviors and habits spring forth. By consistently speaking to yourself as a wealthy individual, you are planting seeds in the fertile soil of your subconscious, seeds that will grow into the fruits of financial abundance in your life. Remember, my beloved friends, that your every word is a decree going forth to shape your reality. Therefore, choose your words wisely. Speak of yourself and your life in terms of abundance, prosperity, and wealth. As you do so, you will find that your actions naturally begin to align with these words. Now let us address a common misconception about acting as if you are wealthy. Many believe that this practice requires spending money recklessly or pretending to have resources you don't possess. But I tell you, true wealth consciousness is not about external displays, but about an inner knowledge of your infinite worth and the abundance that is your birthright. Think of it this way. Does a king need to constantly assert his kingship? Does a millionaire need to prove their wealth to others? No, they simply are who they are, confident in their state of being. In the same way, when you fully embody the consciousness of your wealthy self, you need not prove anything to anyone. Your wealth becomes a natural, unquestionable aspect of who you are. This is why the practice of assumption is so crucial. By consistently assuming the state of your wealthy self, you are not pretending to be wealthy, but allowing your natural state of abundance to express itself through you. As you continue on this journey of acting as if you are wealthy, you may encounter moments of doubt or uncertainty, especially when faced with financial challenges. In these moments, I urge you to return to the fundamental truth. You are not seeking to become something you are not. You are simply awakening to the wealthy being you have always been beneath the surface of limiting beliefs and circumstances. Your task is not to create wealth, but to uncover and express the abundance that is inherent in your divine nature. For you are made in the image of God, and God is the very embodiment of infinite abundance and prosperity. Now let us explore the role of imagination in acting as if you are wealthy. Your imagination is not merely a tool for idle fantasy, but the very workshop in which you forge Ganta reality. Use your imagination deliberately and consistently to reinforce your wealthy self-concept. Each night as you lay down to sleep, imagine a scene that implies you are living as your wealthy self. Perhaps you see of making a significant charitable donation, or you feel the satisfaction of achieving a major financial goal. Make this imaginal scene as vivid and real as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the emotions associated with this expression of wealth. As you fall asleep in this state, you are impressing your subconscious mind with the reality of your wealthy nature. And it is from the subconscious that all change begins. Your subconscious mind, impressed with new self-concept, will work tirelessly through the night to align your outer world with this inner truth. Remember, it is not a period of inactivity, but a time when your subconscious mind is most receptive to new impressions. By falling asleep in the consciousness of your wealthy self, you are planting seeds that will bear fruit in your waking life. As you awaken each morning, take a moment to recall and enter the state of consciousness of your wealthy self before you begin your day. Feel the confidence, the sense of security, the joy that comes with being this version of you. From this state of consciousness, you will naturally make choices and take actions aligned with your wealthy nature throughout the day. Now, my dear friends, I want to address a question that may be arising in the base. What about hard work and effort? Isn't wealth about earning and saving? To this I say, true wealth transcends the traditional concepts of earning and saving. When you operate from the state of being your wealthy self, opportunities for financial growth naturally present themselves. And wise financial decisions flow effortlessly from your state of abundance consciousness. Think of it this way. Does a tree need to strain to produce fruit? Does the sun need to exert effort to shine? No, these are natural expressions of their essential nature. In the same way, when you fully embody the consciousness of yourself, financial abundance becomes unsolved. This is not to say that you will never take action or make efforts towards your financial goals. But when these actions spring from a state of abundance consciousness, they feel joyful and inspired rather than burdensome or driven by fear of lack. As you continue to act as if you are wealthy through the law of assumption, you may notice changes not only in your financial situation, but in your entire perception of the world. You may find that opportunities for financial growth seem to present themselves more frequently. You may notice that people respond to you differently, perhaps with more respect or a desire to collaborate on profitable. These changes are not coincidences, my beloved. They are the natural result of your shifted state of consciousness. As you assume the state of being wealthy, the entire universe must rearrange itself to match this assumption. This is the power you wield as a creative being made in the image of God. Let us delve into another crucial aspect of acting as if you are wealthy, the power of your emotional state. So emotions are the fuel that powers your assumptions and manifestations. To embody lasting wealth, you must cultivate the emotional state associated with being a wealthy individual. What does it feel like to be wealthy? Perhaps you feel a sense of security, of freedom, of expansiveness. Maybe you experience a deep sense of gratitude, knowing that you have more than enough to meet your needs and desires. Whatever these feelings are for you, begin to cultivate them deliberately. Throughout your day, take moments to check in with your emotional state. If you find yourself feeling anxious about money, worried about bills, or envious of others' wealth, pause and consciously shift into the emotional state of your wealthy self. Feel the abundance, the security, the joy that this version of you embodies. Remember, your emotional state is not dependent on your external circumstances. It is a choice you make moment by moment. By consistently choosing the emotional state of your wealthy self, you are reinforcing this state of being and making it your new normal. As you master the art of assuming the emotional state of your wealthy self, you will find that abundant thoughts and actions flow naturally from this state. You won't need to force yourself to make wise financial decisions or resist impulses of lack. The right choices will feel natural and effortless because they align with your assumed state of being. Now, my dear friends, I want to address a common concern that arises on the journey of embodying wealth. Many of you may worry about maintaining this state of wealth consciousness in the face of financial setbacks or unexpected expenses. But I tell you this, true wealth consciousness is not about the absence of financial challenges, but about your response to them. If you find yourself slipping into old patterns of lack-based thinking when faced with a financial hurdle, do not despair. Do not judge or criticize yourself. Simply observe without emotion, and then gently return to the state of consciousness of your wealthy self. Remember, every moment is a new opportunity to choose again to reassume the state of being you desire. In fact, these moments of apparent financial stress are not setbacks at all, but opportunities for growth and deepening of your wealth consciousness. They allow you to practice returning to your desired state, strengthening your ability to maintain this state in the face of challenges. As you continue on this journey of acting as if you are wealthy, you may find that your entire concept of money begins to shift. The wealthy individual understands that money is not a limited resource to be hoarded, but a flow of energy that responds to consciousness. When you are fully aligned with your wealthy self, you may notice that money comes to you in unexpected ways. Opportunities for income may arise from surprising sources. This is not because the nature of money itself has changed, but because your relationship with money has transformed through your shifted state of consciousness. Moreover, the truly wealthy individual understands that wealth is not just about accumulation, but about circulation. As you embody wealth consciousness, you may find yourself inspired to give generously, to invest in others, to use your resources in ways that create value and abundance for all. This circulation of wealth not only blesses others, but also reinforces your own state of abundance. Now, as we near the conclusion of our exploration of acting as if you are wealthy, I want to remind you of a fundamental truth. The outer world is yourself pushed out. As you embody wealth within, you will find that your external circumstances naturally align to support your wealthy nature. You may notice that your environment begins to reflect your inner abundance. Opportunities for financial growth may seem to multiply. People may be drawn to your newfound sense of prosperity and seek to engage with you in mutually beneficial ways. These changes are not coincidences, my beloved. They are the natural outpicturing of your inner state. As within, so without. As you continue to assume the state of being wealthy, watch in wonder as your outer world transforms to match the inner reality. Remember, my dear friends, that this journey of acting as if you are wealthy is not about becoming something you are not. It is about awakening to the abundant being. You have always been beneath the surface of fleece of limiting beliefs and financial circumstances. You are not creating wealth, but uncovering and expressing the wealth that is inherent in your divine nature. As we conclude our time together, I urge you to go forth and apply these principles in your daily life. Assume the state of being your wealthiest self. Feel it, live it, breathe it. Let every thought, word, and action spring from this state of being. Know that as you do this, you are not only transforming your own life, but contributing to the elevation of all humanity. For as you express your wealthy nature, you inspire others to do the same. You become a living testament to the power of assumption and the law of consciousness. My beloved friends, you have within you all that you need to embody true wealth. You are the operant power, the God in man. Go forth and express it in your life. Live from the end, embodying the wealthy being you desire to be. And remember, no matter what appearances may suggest, hold fast to your assumption. For your assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. The wealthy life you imagine is not a distant possibility, but a present reality waiting to be claimed. In closing, I want to emphasize that acting as if you are wealthy is not about arrogance or superiority. True wealth brings with it a deep sense of humility and gratitude. As you embody your wealthy self, cultivate a spirit of thankfulness for all that you have and all that is coming to you. Begin each day with a heart full of gratitude. Give thanks for the abundance that surrounds you, even if it's not yet visible to your physical eyes. Thank the universe for the wealth that is flowing to you, for the opportunities that are unfolding, for the prosperity that is your natural state. This attitude of gratitude is not merely a nice sentiment. It is a powerful force that aligns you even more fully with the state of wealth you are assuming. For in giving thanks for what you have, you open yourself to receive even more. As you move through your day, look for evidence of wealth and abundance all around you. Appreciate the beauty of nature, the kindness of strangers, the opportunities for growth and learning that surround you. These too are forms of wealth, often overlooked but infinitely valuable. Remember, my dear ones, that wealth is not just about money. It encompasses richness in all areas of life, in relationships, in health, in experiences, in personal growth. As you act as if you are wealthy, allow this sense of abundance to permeate every aspect of your being. You see yourself as a conduit for wealth and abundance, not just for yourself, but for all those around you. Visualize wealth flowing through you, blessing your life and the lives of others. For true wealth is not diminished by sharing, rather it multiplies. As you interact with others, do so from your state of wealth consciousness. Treat everyone with kindness and respect, regardless of their apparent financial status. For in the realm of true wealth, all are equal, all are deserving of abundance. If you encounter those who seem to be struggling financially, do not pity them or see them as less fortunate. Instead, see the divine abundance within them waiting to be awakened. Your recognition of their inherent wealth can be a powerful catalyst for their own transformation. In your business dealings and financial transactions, operate from a place of integrity and abundance. Know that there is more than enough for everyone. Avoid the temptation to engage in scarcity-based thinking or unfair practices. True wealth consciousness knows that prosperity comes from creating value, not from taking advantage of others. As you make financial decisions, do so from the perspective of your wealthy self. Ask yourself, what would my wealthy self do in this situation? This doesn't mean being reckless or extravagant, but rather making choices aligned with your highest good and your state of abundance. If you find yourself hesitating to invest in yourself or your dreams, remember that your wealthy self knows the value of strategic investment. Whether it's education, experiences, or opportunities for growth, your wealthy self understands that these are not expenses, but investments in your continued prosperity. As you go about your daily life, pay attention to the quality of your thoughts and feelings about money and wealth. If you notice negative or limiting beliefs arising, gently but firmly replace them with thoughts aligned with your wealthy self. Remember, your thoughts are the seeds of your future reality. Practice speaking about money and wealth in positive, abundant terms. Instead of saying, I can't afford that, say, that's not a priority for me right now. Instead of complaining about bills, express gratitude for the services and goods you received. Your words have power. Use them to reinforce your state of wealth. In your interactions with money, treat it with respect but not reverence. Your wealthy self knows that money is a tool, a means to an end, not an end in itself. Handle your money with care, but don't be overly attached to it. Trust in the flow of abundance. As you embody your wealthy self, you may find yourself drawn to learn more about financial management, investing, and wealth creation. Embrace this desire for knowledge. Your wealthy self understands the value of financial literacy and continual learning. Remember, acting as if you are wealthy doesn't mean pretending to have material possessions you don't yet have. It's about embodying the state of consciousness of a wealthy individual. This state is characterized by confidence, peace, generosity, and a knowing that all your needs are abundantly met. As you persist in this practice, you may start to notice synchronicities and coincidences. That's the ultimate, your new state of being. Perhaps unexpected opportunities arise, or you meet just the right person at just the right time. Welcome these occurrences as confirmation of your engagement with wealth consciousness. If you find yourself in environments or situations that seem to contradict your assumed state of wealth, do not let them shake your conviction. Instead, see them as opportunities to strengthen your assumption. Your wealthy self can move through any circumstance with grace and confidence, knowing that true wealth comes from within. In moments of doubt or fear about your financial future, return to the present moment. Your wealthy self knows that abundance is always available now. By fully occupying and appreciating the present, you open yourself to the infinite possibilities for wealth that exist in each moment. As you continue to act as if you are wealthy, you may find that your desires and goals evolve. What once seemed like the pinnacle of wealth may now feel easily attainable. Allow your vision of wealth to expand. Your wealthy self knows that there are no limits to abundance. Remember, my dear friends, that this practice of acting as if you are wealthy is not about reaching a final destination. It's about embodying a state of being, a way of moving through the world. There's always room for growth, always new levels of abundance to explore. As you embody your wealthy self, you become a beacon of abundance for others. Without saying a word, your energy and presence inspire those around you to consider new possibilities for themselves. In this way, your personal transformation becomes a gift to the world. Finally, my beloved, know that in assuming the state of wealth, you are aligning yourself with your true nature. For you are, in essence, a being of infinite abundance. You are an expression of the divine which knows no lack or limitation. Go forth then and live from this truth. Act as if you are wealthy, not as a pretense, but as an expression of your deepest, most authentic self. For in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but contribute to the elevation of consciousness of all humanity. Remember, the wealthy life you seek is not in some distant future. It is here now waiting for you to step into it. Through your assumption, through your unwavering faith, you bring it into manifestation. May your journey be filled with joy, abundance, and the ever-unfolding realization of your infinite worth. Until we meet again, remember, you are the author of your life story. Write it with wealth, with purpose, with love. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of acting as if you are wealthy. May your path be blessed with endless prosperity and abundance. Good night and God bless you all. My dear wonderful friends, tonight we will explore one of the most powerful yet misunderstood principles in the art of manifestation, the divine law of silence and selective association. Many of you have come to me asking, Neville, why do my manifestations sometimes fail? Or why do things seem to fall apart just when they're about to succeed? Tonight I will share with you a profound truth that will transform your understanding of the law. Let me begin by telling you why silence is not merely the absence of speech, but the very foundation of your creative power. In Scripture we read, "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness, this divine silence, is not a mere suggestion. It is the very secret of creation itself. Consider how God created the world. Did he announce his intentions to anyone? Did he seek validation or approval? No, my dear friends. In the depths of silence, in the quiet of his own being, he spoke the words, "Let there be," and it was done. This is your pattern. This is your blueprint. I remember who came to me in New York. She had been trying to manifest a specific position in her company, a position that seemed impossible to obtain given her current status. She had told everyone about her desire, seeking advice, validation, and support. For months, nothing happened. Then she heard this principle of silence and everything changed. She did something remarkable. She cut off all discussion of her desire. She stopped seeking opinions, stopped announcing her intentions, and most importantly, she went into what I call the sacred silence. Within 3 weeks, not only was she offered the position she desired, but she was offered an even better one she hadn't even imagined possible. You see, when you speak of your desires to others, you are diffusing your creative power. Every time you discuss your intentions, you are releasing the pressure of the creative force that should be building within you. It's like puncturing a balloon before it's fully inflated. The air escapes, and the balloon never reaches its intended form. Let me share with you what I call the law of sacred silence. This law states that every desire has its own gestation period, just as every seed has its own time of growth. When you plant a seed in the ground, do you dig it up every day to check its progress? Do you tell everyone about the seed you've planted and ask their opinion on whether it will grow? Of course not. You plant it in the silence of the earth and let it grow undisturbed. Your desires are spiritual seeds, and your consciousness is the soil in which they grow. Every time you speak of your desires to others, you are essentially digging up your seed to show it to the world. How can it grow if you don't give it the silence it needs to take root? But tonight, I want to take you deeper than you've ever gone before into understanding why cutting all contacts is equally crucial to your manifestation. This is not about isolation, it's about insulation. You must insulate your consciousness from the doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs of others. Consider the story of Noah. Before the flood came, he was instructed to enter the ark and seal it. This is not a historical account, but a psychological drama playing out in consciousness. The ark represents your consciousness, and sealing it represents cutting off contact with all that would disturb your assumption of the wish fulfilled. Many of you maintain relationships and connections that constantly pull you back into old states of consciousness. Try to rise to a new level of being while staying connected to those who know you as you were, not as you desire to be. This is like trying to fly while keeping your feet chained to the ground. Let me tell you about a student of mine who understood this principle perfectly. He desired to move from poverty to wealth, but he realized that his daily associations were keeping him anchored in the consciousness of lack. His friends, though well-meaning, constantly spoke of limitations, of how difficult it was to make money, of how the economy was against them. He made a bold decision. He temporarily cut all contacts that reinforced the old state of poverty consciousness. He didn't do this unkindly or abruptly, but he quietly withdrew from circles that kept him tied to the old state. Instead of spending evenings discussing lack with his usual companions, he went into silence and lived in the assumption of his wish fulfilled. The results were extraordinary. Within 6 months, his entire financial reality transformed. But notice something crucial. He didn't announce his intentions to withdraw. He didn't make declarations about cutting contacts. He simply did it in silence, with the same naturalness with which you would close a door to keep out the cold. Now let me share with you what I call the 3 chambers of silence. The first chamber is physical silence, the cessation of speaking about your desires. The second chamber is mental silence, the quieting of internal chatter and doubt. The third chamber, and most profound, is spiritual silence, the complete surrender to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Many of you enter the first chamber easily enough. You can stop talking about your desires. Some of you even master the second chamber, controlling your thoughts. But it's the third where the real power lies, and this chamber can only be entered when you cut the ties that bind you to your old state. Think of Lot's wife in Scripture. She was told not to look back at the city she was leaving. This is not a story about physical geography. It's about consciousness. When you're moving into a new state of being, you cannot keep looking back at the old state or maintaining connections with those who are not old state. Let me tell you about the law of state resonance. Everything and everyone in your life is a reflection of the state you occupy. When you try to enter a new state while maintaining connections with those who resonate with your old state, you create a psychological conflict that prevents your complete transformation. I recall a gentleman in Los Angeles who desired to become a renowned author. He had talent, he had ideas, but he remained stuck in obscurity. Why? Because he kept himself surrounded by people who knew him as a struggling writer. Their very presence in his life kept him anchored to that state of struggle. One day, after hearing these principles, he did something that seemed drastic to others, but was perfectly natural to him. He cut all contacts with his writing group, stopped attending literary gatherings where people complained about how hard it was to get published, and went into complete silence about his work. Instead of discussing his book with others, he lived in the silence of his completed wish. He would walk into bookstores and quietly see his book on the shelves. He would silently feel the weight of his published work in his hands. He stopped seeking validation, stopped asking for opinions, and most importantly, stopped connecting with those who knew him as anything less than a successful author. Here's what you must understand about the power of cutting contacts. It's not about avoiding people. It's about avoiding states. Every person in your life represents a state of consciousness. When you maintain connections with those who know you in your old state, you're making it infinitely harder to fully occupy your new state. Consider the biblical instruction, come out from among them and be ye separate. This is not about physical separation, but about separating yourself from states that contradict your desire. When you truly understand this, you'll see why maintaining certain contacts keeps you bound to states you're trying to leave. Let me introduce you to what I call the principle of state solidarity. This principle states that your consciousness naturally seeks alignment with the predominant consciousness of those around you. This is why being around people who knew you in your old state makes it challenging to maintain your new assumption. Think of it like tuning a radio. You're trying to tune into the frequency of your desire, but the old contacts in your life keep pulling the dial back to the old frequency. The solution is not to fight against this pulling. The solution is to remove yourself from the range of the old frequency entirely. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, isn't it selfish to cut contacts with people? Let me tell you something profound. You're not cutting contact with people. You're cutting contact with states. When you successfully establish yourself in your new state, you'll find that some of these people will either transform with you or naturally fall away. Let me share with you what I call the law of silent transformation. When a caterpillar enters its cocoon, it doesn't announce its transformation. It doesn't seek approval from other caterpillars. It doesn't maintain connections with its caterpillar life. In perfect silence, in complete isolation, it undergoes its magnificent transformation. This is your pattern. When you're transforming into a new state of consciousness, you must enter your own psychological cocoon. This is why silence and cutting contacts are not just helpful suggestions. They are spiritual imperatives. I remember a woman in my New York lectures who desired marriage. She had been dating for years, constantly discussing her relationships with friends, always seeking advice, always maintaining connections with people who knew her as the single friend. She was constantly in what I call the state of seeking. After learning these principles, she did something revolutionary. She cut all contacts with her dating circles, stopped discussing relationships entirely, and withdrew from the constant social commentary about her love life. Instead, she went into complete silence and lived in the assumption of being happily married. Her friends thought she had become antisocial. Some even criticized her for withdrawing, but she understood something they didn't. She couldn't become the woman she desired to be while maintaining connections that kept her in the state of seeking. Here's what you must understand about the power of silence. It's not merely the absence of noise, it's the presence of power. When you go into silence about your desires, when you cut contacts with those who know you as you were, you are creating a vacuum in consciousness. And nature abhors a vacuum? Let me introduce you to the 4 stages of silent creation. The first stage is recognition, recognizing that your current contacts and conversations are keeping you bound to your old state. The second stage is withdrawal, quietly removing yourself from environments and relationships that reinforce the old state. The third stage is silence, maintaining complete silence about your transformation. The fourth stage is emergence, naturally revealing your new state once it's fully embodied. Most people fail because they try to skip stages. They recognize the need for change, but maintain all their old contacts. They try to withdraw, but keep announcing their withdrawal. They attempt silence, but keep checking if it's working. Remember, a seed doesn't grow faster because you keep checking on it. Consider Joseph in Scripture. When he received his dream of greatness, did he maintain connections with those who knew him as a slave? No. He was separated from all his old contacts, placed in what appeared to be adverse circumstances. But these very circumstances were preparing him for his transformation. This brings us to what I call the principle of sacred separation. Just as a pregnant woman carries her unborn child in the silence and privacy of her psalm, you must carry your desire in the silence and privacy of your consciousness. Every time you discuss it, every time you maintain contact with those who doubt it, you're exposing your unborn desire to harmful elements. Let me tell you about a businessman who came to me in desperate circumstances. His company was failing, and he had been constantly discussing his problems with everyone who would listen. His entire network consisted of people who knew him as the owner of a struggling business. I shared with him these principles, and he understood them at a deep level. He stopped attending business networking events where people discussed market difficulties. He cut contacts with his commiseration circle, those friends who gathered to share business troubles. He went into complete silence about his company status. Instead of seeking advice, he sought silence. Instead of maintaining connections that reinforced failure, he insulated his consciousness in the assumption of success. To the outside world, he seemed to have become a recluse. But in the silence of his consciousness, a transformation was taking place. What happened next illustrates perfectly what I call the law of silent attraction. Within 3 months, his business began attracting opportunities that had been there all along, but were invisible to him while he was in the state of struggle and constant discussion. You see, when you're constantly talking about your problems, constantly maintaining contacts with those who reinforce your limitations, you're blind to the opportunities surrounding you. Let me share with you the deeper metaphysical reason why silence and cutting contacts are so crucial. In Scripture, we read, "In returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength." This is not merely poetic language, it's a precise description of the law of consciousness. When you maintain silence and cut contacts with the old state, you're doing something profound. You're creating what I call a consciousness vacuum. Nature must fill this vacuum, but it can only fill it with whatever corresponds to your assumed state. Consider this principle: every person in your life is a mirror reflecting back to you your state of consciousness. When you maintain contacts with those who knew you in your old state, you're constantly being reminded of who you were, not who you desire to be. This is why cutting contacts is not an act of rejection, but an act of spiritual wisdom. I remember a teacher who came to me. She had been trying to manifest a position at a prestigious university, but she kept herself surrounded by colleagues who knew her as a struggling substitute teacher. Every conversation, every interaction, every relationship reinforced her current state. She understood these principles and did something that seemed radical to others. She quietly withdrew from her regular social circles. She stopped attending teachers' gatherings where the conversation centered around limited opportunities. She cut contacts with those who consistently reminded her of her current circumstances. Instead, she went into what I call the silence of assumption. In this silence, free from the constant reinforcement of her old state, she lived completely in the assumption of being a distinguished professor. She didn't tell anyone about this inner transformation. She didn't seek validation. She simply lived in the silence of her fulfilled desire. Here's what you must understand about the power of sacred isolation. When you isolate yourself from influences that contradict your desired state, you're not being antisocial, you're being spiritually wise. Just as a scientist must create a controlled environment for certain experiments, you must create a controlled environment in consciousness for your transformation. Let me introduce you to what I call the 7 seals of silence. The first seal is physical withdrawal, removing yourself from environments that reinforce the old state. The second seal is social disconnection, cutting contacts with those who know you only as you were. The third seal is conversational silence, refusing to discuss your transformation or desire. The fourth seal is mental quietude, silencing the internal dialogue about your past state. The fifth seal is emotional stillness, maintaining calm confidence in your assumption. The sixth seal is spiritual insulation, protecting your consciousness from doubt and disbelief. The seventh seal is complete absorption, living entirely in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Each of these seals must be maintained if you wish to complete your transformation. Breaking even one seal can allow the old state to seep back into your consciousness. Consider the biblical story of the 3 wise men. After they saw the Christ child, they were warned in a dream not to return to Herod. This is a psychological truth. Once you've conceived your new state, seeing the Christ child, you must not return to the old state, Herod. You must take another way home. Now, let me share with you what I call the ultimate law of silent achievement. When you understand this law, you'll never again question the power of silence and selective contact. Every great achievement in history, every significant transformation has followed this pattern of silence and sacred isolation. Think of Jesus going into the wilderness for 40 days. Think of Buddha leaving his palace and social circles. Think of every great inventor, artist, or visionary who withdrew from society to birth their creation. This is not coincidence, it's law. Let me tell you about my own experience with this principle. When I first discovered these truths, I didn't announce them to the world. I went into silence. I cut contacts with those who knew me as the old man. In that silence, in that sacred isolation, I experienced what I call the great knowing. Here's what you must do starting tonight. First, make a solemn covenant with yourself. a covenant of silence. No more discussing your desires, your plans, your transformations with anyone. Second, begin what I call the great withdrawal, systematically cutting contacts with those who hold you in your old state. But remember, this is not about physical isolation, it's about state isolation. You're not rejecting people, you're rejecting states of consciousness that no longer serve your transformation. I'll share with you the 5 commands of silent power. Thou shalt not speak of thy desire to anyone. Thou shalt cut all contacts that anchor thee to the old state. Thou shalt live completely in the silence of thy wish fulfilled. Thou shalt not return to check on thy progress. Thou shalt maintain thy silence until thy manifestation is complete. These commands are not suggestions, they are spiritual laws that must be obeyed if you wish to transform your reality. Consider this final principle I call the law of silent emergence. Just as a butterfly emerges from its cocoon, only when its transformation is complete, you should only re-emerge into the world when your new state is fully embodied. Let me tell you about the 3 signs of complete transformation. First, when your new state feels more natural than your old state. Second, when maintaining silence requires no effort. Third, when your old contacts naturally fall away or transform to match your new state. Remember, my dear friends, that silence is not the absence of sound, it's the presence of power. Cutting contacts is not the absence of relationship. It's the presence of spiritual wisdom. As we conclude tonight's talk, I want to leave you with this final truth. Your world is your consciousness pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every condition in your life is there because of the state you occupy. When you change your state in silence, when you cut contacts with the old state, you automatically change your world. Go forth now in doubt, not in fear, but in the absolute knowing that as you maintain your silence, as you cut contacts with the old state, your transformation must manifest. It's law. Remember these words from Scripture. Be still and know that I am God. This stillness, this silence, this sacred isolation, this is your path to transformation. And now, my dear wonderful friends, as we close this evening, take with you this solemn truth: your silence is your power. Your withdrawal from the old state is your pathway to the new. Maintain this silence, maintain this sacred isolation, and watch as your world transforms to match your silent assumption. For in the end, it is not in the noise of the world, but in the silence of your consciousness that all things are created. It is not in maintaining old contacts, but in sacred isolation that transformation occurs. Go now in silence and confidence in the absolute knowing that what you desire is already yours. For in consciousness, all things are possible to him who believes and maintains the silence of that belief. Good night, and God bless you all. I want you to cast aside all preconceived notions about achievement, success, and fulfillment. For tonight we shall explore a truth so fundamental, yet so often overlooked, that it has the power to completely reshape your existence. Consider for a moment the energy you expend in chasing after your desires, the constant striving, the endless pursuit, the relentless push towards what you believe will bring you happiness. This chase, my dear listeners, is the very thing keeping you from your desires. It is a game you can never win, for in the act of chasing, you affirm the absence of what you seek. But I say unto you, there's another way, a way that aligns with the very fabric of creation, a way that harnesses the power of your imagination and the law of assumption. This way is not about chasing, but about becoming. It is not about doing, but about being. When you chase after something, you are operating from a state of lack. You are telling the universe, I do not have this, and so I must pursue it. But the universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not respond to your actions. It responds to your state of being, to the assumptions you hold about yourself and your world. Imagine, if you will, a man who desperately wants to be wealthy. He chases after money, working long hours, constantly worrying about his finances, always seeking the next opportunity to increase his wealth. This man, despite his efforts, finds that wealth eludes him. Why? Because in his relentless pursuit, he is affirming his current state of lack. He is living from the assumption that he does not have wealth. And so the universe faithfully reflects this assumption back to him. Now consider another man. This man, rather than chasing wealth, assumes the state of wealth. He lives from the end, feeling the naturalness of being wealthy. He does not pursue money, for in his mind, he already has it. His actions flow not from a place of lack, but from a place of abundance. And lo and behold, opportunities for wealth begin to present themselves to him, seemingly out of nowhere. This, my friends, is the power of letting it come to you. It is not about inaction, but about inspired action. It is about aligning your inner state with your desired outcome, and then allowing the universe to orchestrate the means. But how, you may ask, does one make this shift? How does one stop the chase and start the allowing? The answer lies in the power of your wonderful human imagination. For your imagination is not a mere fantasy maker. It is the very workshop in which reality is forged. When you imagine yourself in the state of your wish fulfilled, when you assume the feeling of your desire realized, you are not engaging in idle daydreaming. You are engaging in the most powerful creative act known to man. You are impressing upon your subconscious mind a new concept of self, a new assumption about your reality. Let us take a moment to truly understand this. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the outer world. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true. And once it accepts an idea as true, it proceeds to bring it into manifestation in your physical reality. So when you stop chasing and instead assume the state of already having what you desire, you are not being passive. You are actively creating your reality from within. You are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe, allowing it to work through you and for you. This, my dear listeners, is the essence of Let It Come to You. It is about recognizing that what you seek is already within you, waiting to be expressed. It is about understanding that the outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner assumptions. Consider the biblical phrase, before they call, I will answer. This is not about some external deity responding to your prayers. It is about the creative power within you, which knows your desires even before you consciously formulate them. When you align yourself with this power, when you live from the assumption of your wish fulfilled, you allow this inner wisdom to guide you towards the manifestation of your desires. But let me be clear, this is not about sitting idly and waiting for things to magically appear in your life. It is about a fundamental shift in consciousness. When you truly embody the state of your wish fulfilled, your actions naturally align with that state. You begin to think, speak, and act from the perspective of already being or having what you desire. Let us explore this further with an example. Imagine a woman who desires a loving relationship. In the old paradigm of chasing, she might frantically go on dates, constantly worry about her appearance, and obsess over finding the one. But in doing so, she is affirming her current state of being single and searching. Now imagine this same woman shifting her approach. Instead of chasing a relationship, she assumes the state of being in a loving partnership. She feels the joy, the security, the companionship in her imagination. She lives each day from this assumption, carrying herself with the confidence and contentment of someone who is deeply loved. In this state, she no longer desperately seeks a partner. She may still go on dates, but she does so from a place of fullness rather than lack. And in doing so, she becomes magnetic to the very love she desires. She allows it to come to her, drawn by the power of her assumption and the clarity of her vibration. This principle applies to every area of your life, my friends. Whether you seek wealth, health, success, or any other desire, the key is to stop chasing and start embodying. For what you are seeking is also seeking you, but it can only find you when you align yourself with its frequency. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this denial of my current reality? And to this I say emphatically no. This is not about denying your current circumstances. It is about understanding the true nature of reality. Your current circumstances are nothing more than the fruit of your past assumptions and beliefs. They have no power to determine your future unless you give them that power by continuing to focus on them. When you shift your focus, when you assume a new state, you are not denying reality. You are exercising your divine right to choose which reality you wish to experience. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness that gives life to your experiences. When you chase after things in the outer world, you are chasing shadows, reflections of past states of consciousness. But when you change your consciousness, when you assume a new state, you cause the outer world to rearrange itself to match your new assumption. This, my dear friends, is the true secret of effortless manifestation. It is about aligning yourself with the law of assumption, recognizing that what you seek is seeking you, and allowing it to flow into your experience through the power of your imagination and belief. But let me warn you, this is not always an easy path. The old habits of chasing, of striving, of efforting are deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. As you embark on this new way of being, you may find resistance arising within you. Doubts may creep in, old patterns may try to reassert themselves. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts and feelings. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your new assumption. For the war is not won by battling against what you don't want, but by persistently embodying what you do want. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're trying to listen to a particular station, you don't focus on eliminating all the other stations. You simply tune into the frequency you desire. In the same way, you don't need to fight against your current reality or forcefully push away unwanted circumstances. You simply need to tune yourself to the frequency of your desire, to align yourself with the state of your wish fulfilled. This aligning, this tuning is done through your imagination. Your imagination is the dial that allows you to tune into different frequencies of experience. As you use your imagination to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, allowing the corresponding experiences to flow into your life. But remember, my friends, this is not a one-time event. It is a way of life. Just as you wouldn't expect to stay in shape by exercising once, you cannot expect to manifest its desires by imagining once. This is about persistently assuming the state of your wish fulfilled, about living from that state day in and day out until it becomes your new normal. As you do this, you will find that the very concept of chasing begins to fade from your consciousness. For how can you chase what you already are? How can you pursue what you already have? This shift in perception is the key to allowing your desires to flow effortlessly into your experience. Now, some of you may be wondering, but what about action? Don't we need to do something to bring our desires into manifestation? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process, but it is inspired action, not frantic doing. When you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, when you live from the end, you will find that ideas and opportunities naturally present themselves to you. You will be inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions, but these actions will not feel like effort or struggle. They will feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between chasing and allowing. When you're chasing, actions feel forced, stressful, born out of fear and lack. When you're allowing, Actions flow naturally from your assumed state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly how to bring your desires into manifestation. Consider the example of a tree. A tree does not chase after sunlight, water, or nutrients. It simply grows, naturally extending its branches towards the sun, its roots towards water and nutrients. It allows these elements to come to it, and in doing so, it fulfills its nature and purpose. You, my dear listeners, are no different. You are a divine creature, imbued with the same creative power that brings forth worlds. When you align yourself with this power, when you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you allow the universe to bring to you all that you need for the manifestation of your desires. But let me be clear, this allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate assumption of the state of your wish fulfilled. It requires faith, not blind faith in an external power, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. This faith is not about believing that your desire will manifest someday in the future. It is about believing that your desire is already yours in the realm of imagination, and that the outer world must inevitably conform to this inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in your assumption, you will begin to see signs of your desire manifesting in your outer world. These signs may start small, an overheard conversation that confirms your assumption, an unexpected opportunity that aligns with your desire, a shift in how others respond to you. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner world is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full manifestation of your desire. As you notice these signs, allow them to strengthen your faith. Let them be evidence that the law is working, that your assumption is taking root in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. But do not become attached to these signs or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from your assumed state. Remember, the manifestation of your desire is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which your desire naturally flows. When you truly embody the state of your wish fulfilled, you no longer need the outer manifestation to feel complete. You are already whole, already fulfilled in your imagination. This is the paradox of manifestation. When you no longer need something to feel complete, when you are already living from the state of fulfillment, that is when your desires flow most easily into your experience. So, my dear friends, I urge you to stop the chase. Stop pursuing, stop striving, stop efforting. Instead, turn within. Use your mighty imagination to assume the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel the naturalness of being or having what you desire. Live from this state, persist in this assumption, and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your inner vision. Remember, you are not a helpless being pushed around by external circumstances. You are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness is the one and only reality. All things are possible to him who believes, for belief shapes reality. As we near the end of our time together, I want to address a question that may be arising in some of your minds. Neville, you might be thinking, this all sounds wonderful, but what if I've been chasing my desire for so long that I don't know how to stop? What if the habit of pursuit is so ingrained that I can't seem to let go? To this I say, fear not, for the power to change is always available to you, in this and every moment. The past has no power over you except that which you give it through your continued attention. Your power lies in the present moment, in your ability to choose your thoughts and assumptions right now. If you find yourself slipping back into the habit of chasing, simply pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself of this truth. What you are seeking is also seeking you. It is not something outside of you that needs to be pursued. It is a state of consciousness that you can assume right now. In that moment of pause, use your imagination to step into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. What would it feel like to already have what you desire? How would you move through your day? How would you interact with others? Immerse yourself in these feelings. Let them permeate your being. This practice of conscious assumption may feel strange at first, especially if you've been in the habit of chasing for a long time. But with persistence, it will become more natural. You will find yourself automatically shifting into the state of your wish fulfilled, allowing your desires to flow to you with ease and grace. Remember, my friends, this is not about forcing yourself to feel something you don't. It's about recognizing that the feeling of fulfillment is already within you, waiting to be acknowledged and expressed. You are not creating something new. You are simply tuning into a frequency that already exists. As you make this shift from chasing to allowing, you may find that your entire perspective on life begins to change. Things that once seemed important may lose their urgency. Pursuits that once consumed your energy may fall away naturally. For when you are living from the state of fulfillment, when you are aligned with your true desires, life becomes less about getting and more about being. This shift is the true gift of letting go of the chase. It's not just about manifesting specific desires, although that will happen. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of life, with the creative power of the universe. It's about recognizing your own divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully through you. In this state of alignment, of allowing, you become a channel for the infinite possibilities of the universe. Ideas flow to you effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves naturally. The right people and circumstances appear in your life at the perfect time. This is the magic of living from the state of your wish fulfilled. But remember, this magic is not something external to you. It is not some cosmic force that you need to appease or manipulate. It is the natural expression of your own consciousness. When it is aligned with truth, you are the magic, you are the miracle, you are the creative power you've been seeking. As we draw our discussion to a close, I want to leave you with a powerful practice that will help you embody this principle of stop chasing it. Let it come to you. This practice is simple, yet profound in its effects. Each night as you lay in your bed, just before you drift off to sleep, enter into a state of deep relaxation. In this relaxed state, imagine a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Make it as vivid and real as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the emotions you would feel if your desire were already realized. As you fall asleep in this state, you are impressing this new concept of self upon your subconscious mind. You are planting a seed in fertile soil, a seed that will grow and blossom into your physical reality. Do this night after night with faith and persistence. Do not be concerned with the how or when of your desire's manifestation. Your job is not to figure out how it will happen. Your job is simply to assume the state of your wish fulfilled and to live from that state. During your waking hours, whenever you catch yourself slipping into the old habit of chasing, gently bring yourself back to this state of fulfillment. Remind yourself that what you seek is already yours in consciousness, and that the outer world must conform to this inner reality. As you practice this, you will begin to feel a shift within you, a sense of peace, of certainty, of knowing. This is the feeling of alignment with your true self, with the creative power of the universe. This feeling is your guide, your compass pointing you towards the realization of your desires. Trust this feeling, my friends. Trust the wisdom of your own consciousness, for it knows the perfect timing and the perfect way to bring your desires into manifestation. Your role is simply to maintain the state of your wish fulfilled, to live from the end, and to allow the universe to take care of the details. Remember, the outer world is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your inner state. As you change your inner state, As you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the outer world must change to match this new vibration. This is not magic, it is law. The law of assumption, the fundamental principle that governs all of creation. As we continue to explore this profound truth, let us delve deeper into the practice of living from the end. This concept, my dear friends, is the key to effortless manifestation. When you live from the end, you are not hoping for a future event. You are experiencing it now in the realm of imagination, which is the true creative realm. Imagine for a moment that you are an actor in a play. The script has already been written, and you know with absolute certainty how the story ends. Would you fret and worry about the outcome? Would you chase after the conclusion? Of course not. You would simply play your part, moment by moment, secure in the knowledge of the final scene. This is how you must approach your life. Know the end, feel it, live it, breathe it. Then, from that state of knowing, live each day. This is not about pretending or forcing yourself to believe something. It's about tapping into the part of you that already has what you desire, that already is what you wish to be. When you truly grasp this, you'll understand why chasing is not only unnecessary but counterproductive. Chasing implies that what you want is somewhere out there, separate from you. But the truth is, everything you desire already exists within you in the infinite realm of possibility that is your consciousness. Let's take a moment to really let this sink in. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, feel yourself letting go of the need to chase, to strive, to struggle. Feel yourself sinking into a state of allowing, of knowing that what you desire is already yours. In this state of allowing, you become a magnet for your desires. You're no longer pushing against reality, trying to force it to conform to your wishes. Instead, you're aligning yourself with the natural flow of creation. You're becoming a channel through which your desires can easily manifest. But remember, this state of allowing is not a passive state. It requires active participation on your part. You must consciously choose moment by moment to live from the end, to feel the feelings, think the thoughts, and take the inspired actions of someone who already has what you desire. This might feel challenging at first, especially if you've been in the habit of chasing for a long time. You might find your mind wanting to slip back into old patterns of worry and lack. When this happens, don't fight it. Simply observe these thoughts and feelings, acknowledge them, and then gently guide your attention back to the state of your wish fulfilled. Think of it like training a puppy. When the puppy wanders off, you don't scold it or punish it. You simply gently bring it back to where you want it to be. Do the same with your mind. Each time you catch it wandering into thoughts of lack or separation from your desire, gently bring it back to the feeling of fulfillment, of already having what you want. As you practice this, you'll find that staying in the state of your wish fulfilled becomes easier and more natural. It becomes your default state, the lens through which you view and interact with the world. And as this happens, you'll start to notice changes in your outer world. These changes might be subtle at first. Perhaps you'll notice that people respond to you differently, or that opportunities you never noticed before suddenly seem to appear, or that solutions to problems come to you effortlessly. These are all signs that your inner shift is creating ripples in your outer reality. Don't discount these small changes. Celebrate them. See them as confirmation that the law is working, that your assumption is taking root. But don't become attached to them or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from your assumed state. As you persist in this practice, larger changes will begin to manifest. The full realization of your desire will unfold in ways that might surprise and delight you. But remember, the outer manifestation is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which your desire naturally flows. This is a crucial point, my friends. When you're truly living from the end, when you're fully embodying the state of your wish fulfilled, you no longer need the outer manifestation to feel complete. You're already whole, already fulfilled in your imagination. And paradoxically, it's in this state of completeness that your desires flow most easily into your experience. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do something to bring our desires into manifestation? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process. But it's inspired action, not frantic doing. When you're living from the end, ideas and opportunities will naturally present themselves to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions. These actions won't feel like effort or struggle. They'll feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between chasing and allowing. When you're chasing, actions feel forced, stressful, born out of fear and lack. When you're allowing, actions flow naturally from your assumed state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly how to bring your desires into manifestation. Consider the example of a tree once again. A tree doesn't chase after sunlight, water, or nutrients. It simply grows, naturally extending its branches towards the sun, its roots towards water and nutrients. It allows these elements to come to it, and in doing so, it fulfills its nature and purpose. You, my dear listeners, are no different. You are a divine creature, imbued with the same creative power that brings forth worlds. When you align yourself with this power, when you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you allow the universe to bring to you all that you need for the manifestation of your desires. But let me be clear, this allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate assumption of the state of your wish fulfilled. It requires faith, not blind faith in an external power, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. This faith is not about believing that your desire will manifest someday in the future. It's about believing that your desire is already yours in the realm of imagination, and that the outer world must inevitably conform to this inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in your assumption, you'll begin to see evidence of your desire manifesting in your outer world. These signs may start small, an overt conversation that confirms your assumption, an unexpected opportunity that aligns with your desire, a shift in how others respond to you. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner world is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full manifestation of your desire. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address a common concern that arises when people first encounter this teaching. Many worry that if they stop chasing their desires and instead live from the end, they'll become complacent or lose their motivation. But I assure you, my friends, the opposite is true. When you're living from the end, when you're aligned with your true desires, you become more motivated, more inspired than ever before. But it's a different kind of motivation. It's not the frantic, anxious energy of someone desperately chasing a goal. It's the calm, confident energy of someone who knows their desire is already theirs. In this state, you take inspired action not because you feel you have to, but because you want to. You move through life with a sense of joy and anticipation, eager to see how your inner state will manifest in your outer world. This is the true gift of letting go of the chase. It's not just about manifesting specific desires, although that will happen. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of life, with the creative power of the universe. It's about recognizing your own divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully through you. In this state of alignment, of allowing, you become a channel for the infinite possibilities of the universe. Ideas flow to you effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves naturally. The right people and circumstances appear in your life at the perfect time. This is the magic of living from the state of your wish fulfilled. But remember, this magic is not something external to you. It's not some cosmic force that you need to appease or manipulate. It is the natural expression of your own consciousness when it's aligned with truth. You are the magic. You are the miracle. You are the creative power you've been seeking. As we draw our time together to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought. The principle we've explored tonight, stop chasing it. Let it come to you, is not just a technique for manifesting desires. It's a way of life. It's about recognizing your true nature as a divine, creative being. It's about aligning yourself with the fundamental laws of the universe. When you live from this understanding, everything changes. The world becomes a friendly place filled with infinite possibilities. You no longer see yourself as a small, separate being struggling against external forces. Instead, you recognize yourself as the creator of your reality, the author of your life story. In this state, there's no need to chase anything, for you understand that everything you desire is already within you, waiting to be expressed. Your job is simply to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to live from the end, and to allow the universe to take care of the details. So, my dear friends, as you leave here tonight, I urge you to let go of the chase. Stop pursuing, stop striving, stop efforting. Instead, turn within. Use your mighty imagination to assume the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel the naturalness of being or having what you desire. Live from this state. Persist in this assumption and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your inner vision. Remember, you are not a helpless being pushed around by external circumstances. You are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness is the one only reality. All things are possible to him who believes, for belief shapes reality. Go forth from here with this knowledge. Apply it in your life. Test it, prove it to yourself. For in doing so, you'll discover the truth of who you really are. You'll tap into the limitless power that has always been within you. And you'll experience the joy, the freedom, the fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with the laws of creation. The world is waiting for you, my friends, not as something to be chased, but as something to be embraced. It's waiting for you to recognize your true power, to step into your divine nature, to become the person you're meant to be. So stop chasing, start being. Let your desires come to you, for in truth, they are already yours. All you need to do is open your arms, open your heart, and receive them. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The power to shape your reality is within you. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. Embrace this truth, live from it, and watch as your world transforms before your eyes. Good night, my dear friends, and may your dreams know your assumptions become your reality.
My dear friends, our topic, to grow you must suffer, may at first seem paradoxical, even disheartening. But I assure you, within this statement lies the key to unlocking your greatest potential, to manifesting your deepest desires, and to truly realizing the divine nature that resides within you. Now, when I speak of suffering, I do not mean the needless pain that we often inflict upon ourselves through our misguided thoughts and beliefs. No, the suffering I speak of is the deliberate, conscious choice to step out of our comfort zones, to challenge our long-held assumptions, and to embrace the discomfort that inevitably comes with transformation. You see, my beloved, we are all God in disguise. We are the infinite consciousness that has taken on human form, and within us lies the power to create and shape our reality. But to fully realize this power, to truly embody our divine nature, we must be willing to shed our old selves, our limited beliefs, and our comfortable illusions. And this shedding, this transformation, inevitably involves a degree of suffering. Think for a moment of the caterpillar. In order to become the beautiful butterfly it is destined to be, it must first enter the chrysalis. Within this dark, confined space, it undergoes a complete transformation. Soul form literally dissolves. And from this dissolution, a new form emerges. Can you imagine the discomfort, the uncertainty, the sheer intensity of this process? Yet without this period of suffering, of dissolution and reformation, the caterpillar could never become the butterfly. We too must be willing to enter our own chrysalis. We must be willing to dissolve our old selves, our limiting beliefs, our comfortable but constraining identities. Only through this process can we emerge as the magnificent beings we truly are. But here's the crucial point, my dear friends. This suffering is not something that happens to us. It is something we choose. It is an act of will, a deliberate decision to grow, to evolve, to become more than we currently are. In this choice lies our power, our divinity, our ability to shape our own. Now you might be wondering, Neville, how can I choose to suffer? Isn't suffering something we naturally avoid? And to this I say, it all begins with your imagination. For as I have always taught, your imagination is the God within you. It is the creative power through which you shape your reality. So, I invite you now to close your eyes. Imagine yourself as you wish to be. See yourself embodying the qualities you desire, living the life you dream of. Feel the joy, the fulfillment, the sense of purpose that comes with this vision. Now, what I let go of to become this person? What comfortable illusions, what limiting beliefs, what aspects of my current self must I be willing to sacrifice? As you contemplate these questions, you may feel a sense of resistance, of fear, of discomfort. This, my beloved, is the suffering I speak of. It is the natural response of your current self to the prospect of change, of transformation. But remember, this suffering is not your enemy. It is the signpost pointing the way to your growth, to your evolution, to the realization of your true divine nature. Now, you might be thinking, but Neville, isn't this at odds with your teachings about the law of assumption? Haven't you always said that we should assume the feeling of our wish fulfilled? And to this I say, there is no contradiction. For in choosing to suffer for your growth, in willingly embracing the discomfort of transformation, you are in fact assuming the state of one who is committed to their evolution, who is willing to do whatever it takes to manifest their desired reality. You see, the law of assumption is not about avoiding all discomfort or difficulty. It's about aligning your thoughts, your feelings, your very being with the reality you wish to create. And sometimes that alignment requires us to move through discomfort, to face our fears, to challenge our limitations. In doing so, we are assuming the state of one who is capable of growth, of transformation, of manifesting their desires against all odds. Consider for a moment the great figures of history, the spiritual masters, the innovators, the revolutionaries. Did they achieve their greatness by remaining comfortable, by avoiding all suffering? No, they willingly embraced the challenges, the difficulties, the suffering that came with pursuing their vision. They understood that this suffering was not an obstacle to their growth, but the very means by which they would achieve it. So too must we be willing to embrace our own suffering, our own challenges, our own transformative experiences. For in doing so, we are not victims of circumstance, but conscious creators of our own evolution. We are God in action, shaping our reality through our willingness to grow, to change, to become more than we currently are. Now, let us delve deeper into the nature of this suffering. It is not physical pain or external hardship that I speak of, though these may sometimes be part of our journey. No, the suffering I refer to is primarily internal. It is the discomfort of challenging our own beliefs, of questioning our assumptions. This suffering might manifest as the anxiety you feel when you step out of your comfort zone. It might be the sense of loss you experience as you let go of old identities or relationships that no longer serve your growth. It might be the confusion and uncertainty that comes with questioning long-held beliefs or ways of being. But here's the beautiful truth, my dear friends. This suffering is temporary. It is a bridge, a passage, a transformative process. On the other side of this suffering lies growth, expansion, and a deeper realization of your true nature. Think of it like this. When you exercise your physical body, you experience discomfort. Your muscles strain, your breath becomes labored, you may even feel pain. But it is through this very discomfort that your body grows stronger, more resilient, more capable. The suffering is temporary, but the growth, the transformation is lasting. So too is it with our spiritual and personal growth. The discomfort we feel as we challenge our limitations, as we step into new ways of being, as we align ourselves with our highest vision, this discomfort is the very means by which we grow, is the resistance against which we push to become stronger, more aligned. But remember, my beloved, you are not alone in this process. For the God within you, your own wonderful human imagination, is always with you, always supporting you, always guiding you towards your highest good. This God power within you knows the end from the beginning. It sees the magnificent butterfly even as you struggle within the chrysalis. So, as you embrace the suffering that comes with growth, I urge you to lean on this inner power. Use your imagination to see beyond the current discomfort, to hold fast to the vision of what you are becoming. For as you hold this vision, as you assume the feeling of already being that which you desire to be, you set in motion the forces that will bring this vision into reality. Now, let us address a common misconception. Some may hear this teaching and think that it advocates for a life of constant struggle, of unending hardship. But this is not so. The suffering I speak of is purposeful, intentional. It is not about seeking out pain or difficulty for its own sake, but about being willing to move through discomfort for the sake of your growth, your evolution, your self-realization. Moreover, as you embrace this approach to growth, as you become more comfortable with the discomfort of transformation, you will find that your capacity for joy, for peace, for fulfillment actually expands. For you are no longer at the mercy of external circumstances, no longer limited by your fears or doubts. You become free to fully express your divine nature, to live from a place of power and purpose. Consider that. Have you ever achieved something significant, something that required great effort and perseverance? Perhaps you completed a challenging project, overcame a fear, or mastered a new skill. Remember the sense of accomplishment, the joy, the expanded sense of self that came with this achievement. This is the fruit of growth through suffering. The discomfort you experienced in the process was temporary, but the growth, the expansion, the realization of your capabilities, these are lasting. My dear friends, I invite you to embrace this truth. To grow, you must suffer. But know that this suffering is not a punishment, not a burden, but a gift. It is the means by which you shed your limitations, realize your potential, and step into the fullness of your divine nature. As you go forth from here, I encourage you to look at the challenges in your life with new eyes. See them not as obstacles to be avoided, but as opportunities for growth, for transformation, for the expression of your divine nature. Ask yourselves, what am I being called to let go of? What comfort zone am I being invited to step out of? What aspect of my divine nature is seeking expression through this challenge? And as you contemplate these questions, remember that you have within you the power to choose your response. You can choose to shrink back, to avoid the discomfort, to remain as you are. Or you can choose to lean in, to embrace the challenge, to willingly step into the chrysalis of transformation. My beloved, I urge you to choose the latter. For in doing so, you are choosing to align yourself with the creative power of the universe. You are choosing to be an active participant in your own evolution, in the unfolding of your divine nature. Now, let us delve deeper into the practical application of this principle. How do we actually embrace suffering for the sake of growth? How do we navigate the discomfort of transformation while maintaining our faith in the process? First and foremost, we must cultivate awareness. We must become conscious observers of our own thoughts, feelings, and reactions. When you encounter a challenge or a difficulty, pause. Take a breath. Observe your initial reaction. Do you feel fear? Resistance? A desire to retreat to what's familiar and comfortable. Acknowledge these feelings without judgment. They are natural responses of your current self, your current state of consciousness. But remember, you are not bound by these reactions. You have the power to choose your response. In that moment of awareness, you have the opportunity to make a conscious choice. Will you allow your fear or discomfort to dictate your actions? Or will you choose to move forward, to embrace the challenge as an opportunity for growth? This choice, my dear friends, is where your power lies. It is in this moment that you can align yourself with your highest vision, with the divine nature within you. It is here that you can choose to suffer, to move through discomfort for the sake of your growth. But how do we find the strength to make this choice, especially when the discomfort feels overwhelming? This is where the power of your imagination comes into play. For as I have always taught, your imagination is your direct link to the divine, to the creative power of the universe. So, in that moment of choice, I invite you to use your imagination. Close your eyes and see yourself as you wish to be. Feel the strength, the courage, the divine power flowing through you. Imagine yourself moving through the challenge with grace and ease, growing stronger and more aligned with each step. As you hold this image in your mind, as you feel the reality of it in your body, you are tapping into the God power within you. You are aligning yourself with the version of you that has already overcome this challenge, that has already grown through this suffering. From this aligned state, you will find the strength to embrace the discomfort, to move forward despite your fears or doubts. For you are no longer acting from your limited current self, but from the expanded divine self that you are in the process of becoming. Now, as you begin to consciously choose growth through suffering, you may find that your perception of suffering itself begins to shift. What once seemed like insurmountable obstacles may begin to appear as stepping stones on your path of evolution. The discomfort you feel may begin to be tinged with excitement, with the anticipation of the growth and expansion that lies on the other side. This shift in perception is a sign of your growing alignment with your divine nature. For from the perspective of your highest self, all experiences, even those we might label as suffering, are opportunities for growth, for the expression of your true nature. But, my dear friends, I must caution you. This path of conscious growth, of willingly embracing suffering for the sake of your evolution, is not always easy. There will be times when you falter, when the discomfort seems too great, when you long to retreat to the familiar and comfortable. In these moments, be gentle with yourself. Remember that you are in the process of a profound transformation. Just as the caterpillar might struggle within the chrysalis, so too will you have moments of doubt, of fear. But here's the beautiful truth. Even in these moments of struggle, you are growing. Even when you feel lost or overwhelmed, the process of transformation is still unfolding within you. For the very act of choosing this path, of willingly stepping into the chrysalis of transformation, has set in motion forces beyond your current understanding. So, in those difficult moments, I urge you to return to your imagination. See yourself as the butterfly you are becoming. Feel the strength, the beauty, the freedom that awaits you on the other side of this transformation. Let this vision sustain you, guide you, pull you forward even when the path seems dark or uncertain. And remember, my beloved, you are never alone in this process. The God within you, your own wonderful human imagination, is always with you, always supporting you, always guiding you towards your highest good. Lean on this inner power. Trust in the process. Have faith in your own divine nature and its ability to carry you through any challenge, any suffering, towards your ultimate growth and realization. Now let's address another aspect of this principle. The role of resistance in our growth process. You see, when we decide to grow, when we choose to step out of our comfort zones and embrace the suffering that comes with transformation, we often encounter resistance. This resistance can come from within ourselves, in the form of doubts, fears, or old habits. It can also come from the world around us, from people or circumstances that seem to oppose our growth. It is a profound truth. This resistance is not an obstacle to our growth. In fact, it is an essential part of the growth process. Just as a seed must push against the soil to sprout and grow, so too must we push against resistance to realize our full potential. Think of it this way. If there were no resistance, no challenge, no suffering to move through, how would we grow? How would we discover the depths of our strength, the extent of our capabilities, the true nature of our divine selves? So when you encounter resistance on your path of growth, do not be discouraged. Instead, see it as a sign that you are on the right track. See it as an opportunity to flex your spiritual muscles, to deepen your commitment to your growth, to more fully embody your divine nature. And remember, my dear friends, that your response to this resistance is a choice. You can choose to see it as an insurmountable obstacle, as a reason to give up or turn back. Or you can choose to see it as a teacher, as a catalyst for your growth, as the very means by which you will become more than you currently are. Again, this is where the power of your imagination comes into play. When you encounter resistance, use your God-given power of imagination to see beyond it. Imagine yourself moving through the resistance with ease and grace. Feel the strength and determination flowing through you. See yourself emerging on the other side stronger, wiser, more fully aligned with your true nature. As you hold this image in your mind, as you assume the feeling of having already overcome the resistance, you set in motion the forces that will make this vision a reality. For remember, your imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the creative power of the universe expressing itself through you. Now, let us delve into another crucial aspect of this principle: the importance of faith in the growth process. When we choose to grow through suffering, when we willingly step into the chrysalises of transformation, we are often stepping into the unknown. We cannot always see the end from the beginning. We cannot always know exactly how we will emerge on the other side. This is where faith comes in. Not blind faith, not passive acceptance, but an active, living faith in the divine process of growth and transformation. A faith in your own divine nature and its ability to guide you through any challenge, any suffering towards your ultimate good. This faith, my beloved, is not something outside of you. It is not something you need to acquire or earn. It is an inherent part of your divine nature, a natural expression of the God within you. To access this faith, you need only to turn within, to connect with the deepest part of yourself, the part that knows the truth of who you are and what you are capable of becoming. So, as you embrace the suffering that comes with growth, I urge you to cultivate this faith. Nurture it through your imagination, through your conscious choice to trust in the process even when you cannot see the outcome. Let this faith be your anchor in moments of doubt, your light in times of darkness. And remember, this faith is not about believing that everything will always be easy or comfortable. It's about trusting that everything you experience, including the suffering, the challenges, the resistance, is ultimately serving your growth, your evolution, your self-realization. Now let us address a question that may be arising in your minds. Neville, how do we discern between the suffering that leads to growth and needless suffering that only holds us back? This, my dear friends, is a crucial distinction. For not all suffering leads to growth. There is suffering that comes from resistance to what is, from holding on to what no longer serves us, from refusing to align with our true nature. This kind of suffering does not lead to growth, but to stagnation and frustration. The suffering that leads to growth, on the other hand, is always aligned with your highest vision for yourself. It is the discomfort that comes from stepping out of your comfort zone, from challenging your limitations, from aligning yourself more fully with your divine nature. This suffering has a purpose, a direction, a transformative power. To discern between these two types of suffering, you must cultivate deep self-awareness. You must be willing to honestly examine your motivations, your desires, your fears. Ask yourself, is this suffering moving me towards my highest vision for myself? Is it challenging me to grow, to expand, to more fully embody my divine nature? Or is it keeping me stuck, repeating old patterns, resisting my own evolution? In conclusion, my beloved, remember this. To grow, you must suffer. But this suffering is not a punishment, not a burden, but a gift. It is the means by which you shed your limitations, realize your potential, and step into the fullness of your divine nature. Embrace it with courage, with faith, with the knowledge that on the other side of this suffering lies a version of you that is more aligned, more powerful, more fully expressive of your true divine self. Go forth and grow, my dear friends. The universe awaits your blossoming.